filling in for Dave Niehaus, who's taken a few days off, and Dave will be back with the ball club on Monday. But Dave Henderson, that All-Star game was as good an All-Star game as we've seen in many years. Your thoughts?
I think you sell it short when you just say All-Star game. It's an All-Star week. We had the home run hitting contest, fan fest. Everything was spectacular, and Jason Giambi stole the show.
Well, Barry Bonds is going to be coming into town here with a big three-game series. What a year he's having.
Well, when you look at these numbers, the 39 home runs jump right out at you. But remember, what have you done for me lately? The last 13 games, 214, only 3 ribbies, no home runs. That's what they remember right there. What have you done for me lately?
Well, let's take a look at the night's starting pitchers, brought to you by your Puget Sound Lexus dealer. Kurt Reeder will be going, a left-hander for the San Francisco Giants. Take a look at his season numbers. He is 3-0 lifetime against the Seattle Mariners, but he'll be opposed by a guy that's on a pretty good roll. Paul Abbott will be going for the Seattle Mariners. He's won his last 5 straight decisions. It's going to be a big night here at Safeco Field. Ichiro going against Barry Bonds. Stick around. We'll have the starting lineups when we come back in just a moment. Beautiful Safeco Field, where we're getting ready for the opening game of this 3-game series between the San Francisco Giants and the Seattle Mariners. The Mariners coming off a road trip just before the All-Star break, in which they had a record of 7-3, and Lou Piniella was quite pleased with the outcome just before the All-Star break, and they get ready now to open a big 6-game homestand against the San Francisco Giants and the Arizona Diamondbacks. And it's not going to get very easy, because everybody knows that the second half of the season, everybody points to the teams that are on top, so everybody is well prepared. And that guy right there, Barry Bonds, is having an absolutely marvelous season with 39 home runs before the All-Star break. No one has ever done that in the history of the game. And speaking about playing here at beautiful Safeco Field, the Mariners this year have a record of 28-12 at home, the best winning percentage in the major leagues. Only the Yankees have won as many games, 28 at home. And the Mariners have taken the field. And Dave Henderson, let's take a look at tonight's starting lineups.
Yeah, it's now time for tonight's starting lineups, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Have Murray, Aurelia, Bonds, and we talked about Bonds. He's a guy you stay away from. Kent, Rios, Crespo, Santiago, Bernard, and Martinez. And of course, Paul Abbott looking at this lineup, trying to control the middle 3. Those are the home run guys, and of course he has to have his great changeup and control. Everybody talks about his changeup, but the high fastball is a pitch he has to control with his great velocity. As we look at the defense around the horn, look at the Mariners out there. John Olerud, an all-star at first base. Brett Boone batting 4th in the All-Star game, second base. David Bell back at his familiar position, third base. Carlos Guillen, that shortstop. Eddie Sprague in left field, hit his way into the lineup. Mike Cameron, center fielder out there. And Ichiro, top vote getter, out there in right field. Dan Wilson doing the catching.
And on the mound is right-handed pitcher Paul Abbott. As you take a look at Abbott's season numbers, he is 7-2 with an ERA at 4.42. And look at the innings, the hits, the home runs, walks, and strikeouts for Abbott. And Dave, you were just saying about Abbott, about the high fastball. Very few pitchers are able to pitch up in the strike zone. And guys that do are generally fly ball pitchers, but when Abbott keeps the ball down, he's much more effective.
Well, people always underestimate Abbott's fastball. He's been clocked at 92, 93, 94 miles an hour. So everybody always talks about the changeup, but he has an above average fastball. But he has to have good control, because he has a tendency to get up in his zone and walk people.
What kind of an effect do you think the sunlight's going to have here? Although right now the field's pretty much in the shade. A little tough to see the ball up at the plate right now?
Well, the backdrop back there, the hitting eye, is the most important thing. That's what hitters always look at, where that release point for that pitcher it comes from. And you see the sunshine out there, and of course the backdrop is in sunshine. And when that sun goes down, all the hitters like it. But with that glare right there, it's tough to pick up the rotation of the ball, and the pitchers do have the advantage early in the ball game.
Right now, the delay is they're waiting for the lights to be turned on. It takes a while for those lights to heat up to have some kind of an effect, and that's why I think you're seeing such a tremendous contrast between the outfield area and right around the home plate area. Let's take a look at the umpires for this evening's ball game. Rick Reed will be the crew chief. He'll be behind the plate. Rob Drake is at first base. Mark Wegner is umpiring at second, and Laz Diaz, the umpire, at third. The Giants, with a record of 46 and 42, they're in third place, 5.5 games behind Arizona. And the Dodgers are in second place, and then the Giants are in third base. And Hendu, what about this San Francisco ball club, National League ball club coming in here under Dusty Baker?
Well, we look at Dusty Baker right there. He had that big meeting after the first half, and we've all been in the clubhouse for that big meeting. It's forget the first half. Let's stress on the second half. Let's start all over. And they were in there about 20, 30 minutes. Listen to Dusty talk about the second half.
Well, last year, the second half of the season was what turned everything around for the Giants. They were 25 games over the 500 mark the second half of the season. And we're ready for this game to get underway. As Abbott winds, and the first pitch of the game is right in there for a strike. 0-1 to Calvin Murray, who is batting .293, 4 home runs, and 16 runs driven in. The 0-1 pitch. Nice breaking ball. Strike 2. Murray, not a big guy. He's only 5'11", but he's packed in a nice package. He weighs 184 pounds. Makes his home down in Spring, Texas. The Giants' #1 pick back in 1992. And the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. Temperature 75 degrees. Very pleasant evening here at beautiful Safeco Field. First game of the second half of the season. Inside, and that has Murray jumping back out of the way. They always divide the season in half, before the All-Star game and after the All-Star game. Granted, this is game number 88. That's a little bit more than halfway through the season. As far as the players are concerned, this is the start of the second half. Popped him up. Behind home plate, Dan Wilson will have a play. He has it for out number 1.
Well, you talk about that separating the two, and the players do it too. You look at your first half numbers, what you did, and you always set goals to do something better or to improve on something, and that's what Abbott's done. He set a goal that first inning is not going to be a bugaboo for him. He's always had trouble getting out of the first inning, getting under control, throwing strikes.
You know, that's one of the things that Brian Price has talked to Abbott a great deal about in changing his routine during his warm-ups. Guys that generally have a slow start generally don't get into the concentration level, and they need to turn it up a notch as Rich Aurelia stands in. Off the end of the bat, an easy play for the all-star center fielder, Mike Cameron. Talking with Cameron prior to the ball game. Walked into the clubhouse about 2:30, 3 o'clock this afternoon. And walked up to him. I said, Mike, didn't get a chance to congratulate you about the All-Star game. Gave me a great big hug. He says, Ron, that was the most exciting thing that's ever happened to me in my life. He said, I can't believe playing right here in Seattle, playing in the All-Star game. Well, here he is, Barry Bonds. And he takes ball 1. Look at the numbers for Bonds. 39 home runs, 73 runs driven in. And there's ball 2.
Well, I guess with all the talk of the McGwire record, 70 home runs, Bonds wants no part of that. He looks at my ring and your ring, World Series rings. That's all he wants to talk about.
And then it's hit high and deep to right center field, folks, and it is gone. A home run for Barry Bonds, his 40th of the year. Holy cow, the first time up after the All-Star break, and Barry Bonds goes deep.
And I think this is the way you want Barry Bonds to go deep. You don't want to walk him in Safeco Field, but you want him to hit home runs with nobody on base. And Paul Abbott got behind him 2-0 and threw a low fastball, and Barry Bonds used to be, you could get in on him with that fastball. Now he's about 8, 10 pounds lighter. He's a little quick inside, as Paul Abbott just learned.
That home run, by the way, is number 535 in his career, and that ties him on the all-time list with Jimmy Fox, double X, for 10th place on the all-time home run list. Here is Jeff Kent, and the first pitch is fouled back out of play.
Well, we look at this pitch, Ron. It's a pretty good pitch. They're going to go inside, but Abbott doesn't get it inside. Down low, right in the middle, and you don't want to throw it there. If you're going to throw inside on Barry, you have to throw on the inside corner or off the plate.
If you're going to come inside to him, you better get it in off the plate. The next pitch to Kent is fouled down the right field line. The count is 0-2.
Well, especially when you're trying to go in on a power hitter when you're behind the count. They can sit on a pitch, a fastball, and do what he's done over 500 times.
Said 535 career home runs, make that 534. I think I gave Barry one too many. The 0-2 pitch. Got him. And that takes care of the Giants in their half of the first inning. And after a half inning of play, the Giants lead by a score of 1-0, and we'll head to the bottom half of the first after this word from Southwest Airlines.
Welcome back to Safeco Field, everybody. We saw a little taste of Barry Bonds in the first inning. The Giants have one run. Of course, it was on a home run. And now it's time for tonight's starting lineups, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. We start off with Ichiro, Guillen, Martinez, Olrud Boone, Cameron Sprague, Bell, and Wilson. And Kurt Reeder, the left-hander, doesn't overpower anybody. A fastball curve, slider, 8 wins. You see 17 home runs allowed, so he's not an overpowering pitcher. You can take him deep and make it hurt him.
The left-hander, Kurt Reeder, will be facing Ichiro, Guillen, and then Martinez. 1-0 San Francisco on the home run by Barry Bonds. He is 40th of the year. And Ichiro, a big hit in the All-Star game. Got a base hit his first time up. And it was quite a weekend and quite a All-Star week here at Safeco Field. And he takes the first pitch outside. Reeder is just 30 years of age. He's 6'2", weighs 212 pounds. Acquired from the Expos back in 1996, and Ichiro pops it up in foul territory. And there is out number 1.
Well, we take a look at the Giants defense, and Bernard taking Barry Bonds' place out there. Bonds DH and Murray and Rios. Martinez, Aurelia, Kent, and Crespo at first base. And Benito Santiago doing the catching. Of course, Reeder on the mound. Hopefully Bonds doesn't get adapted to that DH spot. Dusty wouldn't like that.
Now, well, the National League, of course, they don't use the designated hitter as Guillen stands in. Guillen has changed his stance, a little bit more of an open stance as the curveball drops in there nicely. 0-1. You'll recall last year that Guillen got off to a very slow start in the second half of the season. Boy, did he pick it up. He batted .296 the second half of the season. And that was tops on the Mariners. The next pitch outside. The count is now 2 balls and 1 strike. Guillen has hit safely in 8 of the last 10 games, and during that time he's been batting right around .375. So his bat really starting to heat up. And that's hit hard to center field. Murray going back and has plenty of room. And he puts on the brakes and makes the catch for out number 2. So Guillen flies deep to center field. 2 men are out, and here is Edgar Martinez. For some reason, Edgar does not hit left-handers nearly as well as he does right-handers. And you'd think it'd be just the other way around.
Yeah, especially with a hitter that can back the ball up, hit it deep into the strike zone, as Edgar can do. And most left-handers throw off-speed stuff and sinkers away and breaking balls into the right-hander. So you would think Edgar would, hit over 400 against left-handed pitching.
The 0-1 pitch in the way, and Edgar takes outside ball 2. Edgar batting .302, 13 home runs and 67 runs driven in. He's tied for 5th in the league in runs batted in. And the tall left-hander. Next pitch, a changeup, low and outside, ball 3. 3 balls and no strikes. For Reeder, this is his 19th start of the year. And that pitch is outside. Well, I guess one of them must have been called a strike. I thought it was 3-0. So I guess the count is 3 balls and 1 strike.
Yeah, usually early in a ball game, Edgar will take a look at a lot of pitches and try to scout the pitcher.
Strike called in the outside corner, and it's now a full count. 3-2. Edgar in his career against Reeder, although they don't face each other that often, is just 2 for 7. And one of them hits a home run. And that is inside low, ball 4. And down to first base goes Edgar Martinez. That is the 63rd walk of the season for Edgar. He is 3rd in the league in walks. Jason Giambi leads the league with 71.
And I think that's a part of the lineup where Dusty was concerned. He has 2 former batting title winners in Edgar and Olrud, and they walk a lot. So the on-base percentage is going to be up there. And Dusty was talking about, you know, Boone's numbers. That has a lot to do with it because he always gets to hit with 1 or 2 of these guys on base.
And that's just the way that Boone likes it, too. Here's John Olerud standing in, batting .316, 11 home runs and 58 runs driven in. And he takes the first pitch outside, ball 1. Olerud, 3 for 7 in his career against Reeder. 1-0 San Francisco. We go here in the bottom of the first inning. A strike call by home plate umpire Rick Reed on a delayed call. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Oh, this is what you see when the ball's coming in, that backdrop back there in the light.
Popped him up. And the shortstop, Aurelia, calling for it, makes the catch, and that takes care of the Mariners in their half of the inning. No runs, a man is left, and after 1 complete, Giants lead it 1-0. We go to the 3rd inning with the game tied at 1, and just a reminder that tonight at 11:30, it's the last word with Jim Rome. Jim tells it like it is on the Nightline of Sports Talk Show. Tonight's guest star, the host of The Man Show, Adam Carolla and Jimmy Kimmel. The last word with Jim Rome tonight at 11:30 right here on Fox Sports Net. Paul Abbott goes back to the mound for another inning of work as the Mariners came back with a run in their half of the 2nd inning to tie the game at 1. The Mariners at home this year have been mighty, mighty tough. A record of 28-12. That's the best percentage, the best winning percentage in the major leagues, and only the New York Yankees have won as many games at home this year. The Yankees have won 28 games, but they have played 5 more games than that of the Mariners. And here in the inning, it'll be Marvin Bernard, followed by Ramon Martinez and Calvin Murray. You have to take your hat off to a young man like Marvin Bernard. He was the Giants' 50th round pick back in 1992. He was born in Nicaragua, grew up in Southern California, and went to high school at Bell High School, where he had his uniform retired. The number 9 retired in high school. And he looks at a pitch outside. But he wasn't done there. He went to Lewis and Clark and had his uniform retired there, the number 16, and has worked his way up the Giants organization. And there's an attempted bunt, and that is foul. 1 ball and 1 strike. And I'm laughing because whenever I hear Lewis and Clark, it's a fine school. They produced a lot of really outstanding baseball players. But many years ago, my son was growing up, and we had a babysitter that came by one night, and she was going to help him with his history lesson. The next pitch is outside, and the count is 2 balls and 1 strike. And so she was going to help him along, and she asked a question of course, you have the great adventures exploring the Northwest at the early stages of the country. There's a strike, and the count is even at 2-2. And she asked my son, what was the first name of Clark? And he said, Lewis Ann.
Sounds good.
Okay, and the next pitch is hit off the end of the bat, and that count remains at 2-2. Okay, well, he's working on it. He's getting close to it. 1-1 tie here in the third inning. Infield straight away, outfield pretty much straight away, although they're shading Bernard in center field, playing pretty much like that of a right-handed batter. The 2-2 pitch is way high and outside. Full count now, 3-2. Abbott going after his 8th victory of the year against 2 defeats. Into center field, and Cameron kind of just working his way in, makes the play, and that is out number 1. We mentioned to you that Abbott with a record of 7-2, but here at Safeco Field, he's 4-1 in 5 starts. ERA very good at 3.45. And opponents batting just 179. So indeed he likes to pitch here. Here is Ramon Martinez, a 263 hitter on the year, 3 home runs, 17 runs driven in. And he takes strike 1. Talk about getting excited playing in your first major league game. Next pitch is high, ball 1, 1 ball and 1 strike. Ramon Martinez became the first Giant to come up with 3 hits in his major league debut. 3 hits or more. First time that's been done since Willie McCovey went 4 for 4 back in 1959. There's a swing and a miss, and the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. And of course, from there, McCovey ended up going into baseball's Hall of Fame. What a start in your first major league game to get 3 hits. Here's the 1-2 pitch in the way, and hit hard down the left field line, but foul.
No, I don't know about that. You get 3 hits, and the expectations go up a bit, and you're probably hitting close to 750. That average could only go down.
Do you remember your first game?
Sure. I swung at the first pitch and grounded out, and I was happy. I remembered the swing. I was so nervous.
You're just kind of happy to make contact.
Right.
I think we're all in about that same boat. Martinez now with a new bat. He cracked the handle of that one. Young man out of Puerto Rico. Came over from the Kansas City Royals back in 1996. Now playing third base. Russ Davis started at third base for the Giants this year. And that pitch is down low. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Davis let go by the Giants here a couple of weeks ago. And now they're going to let Ramon Martinez have a shot at it. Popped him up, and Guillen says he'll try it. And that is out number 2. 6 in a row set down by Paul Abbott. Giving up just the 1 hit, and if you missed it, Barry Bonds hit his 40th home run of the year back in the first inning on a 2-0 count. So we go back to the top of the order now, and Calvin Murray.
Well, it doesn't take a genius to know that the Mariners were going to try to stay away from Barry Bonds and walk him like the rest of the league. Abbott just missed his location a bit and got a 2-0 pitch in the middle of the plate, and that's what home run hitters do to those kind of pitches.
Surprised he gave him a fastball to hit. Count of 0-1 to Murray. And Abbott blew a fastball right on by him. Make that count now 0-2. Murray spent 7 years in the Giants minor league system. 1999 was the PCL Player of the Year. Took over the center field job when he had his contract recalled by the Giants on June the 1st. And since coming up, he's done a fine job out there in center. The strike 2 pitch is hit high in the air and playable to center field. Cameron loping in, and on the glide makes the catch. 3 up, 3 down. 7 in a row set down by Abbott. Game tied at 1. His future as a Sonic. Bill Kruger breaks down tonight's game, and also what do the Mariners think about the signs by the fans here at Safeco Field. Lots going on tonight on Northwest Sports Report with Tom Glasgow and Bill Wixie. Right after the game on Fox Sport Net. Here is Ichiro to lead things off, and the first pitch is outside, ball one. Well, here's the guy that gets the Mariners going. And that evens up the count.
And as a pitcher, you got to keep Ichiro the ball in the air because he has so much speed, almost running when he hits the ball on the ground, puts so much pressure on the defense.
Trouble. And no chance for Jeff Kent. Can't get it out of the glove. And an infield base hit. You're absolutely right. Hendu, as he hits the ball on the ground, and it's trouble for the opposing team. An infield base hit for Ichiro. Hit number 135 on the season for Ichiro as he bounces this one right in front of home plate over the mound. And infield hit number 31 of the year for Ichiro.
Well, the high hopper like that, the middle infielder has to be perfect to have a chance. And Jeff Kent, his steps were off a bit, and he just held the ball instead of throwing it away.
And Guillen fakes a bunt, takes the pitch for a strike, 0-1. Have to keep your eye on Rick Reed. Sometimes it takes a while for him to ring up a strike. Guillen flied to center field his first time up. A .288 hitter batting from this side of the plate in the year. In fact, Guillen bats 61 points higher this side of the plate. Just outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. And Reeder continues to pitch just about everybody away.
And I think Lou Piniella knew that going into this ballgame. That's why Guillen is in the 2-hole batting second, that it gives him something to do instead of freelancing at the plate. He has a job to do. Shoot this ball to right and try to hit that hole on the right side.
Pitch out, nothing doing.
When you have a job to do at the plate, it ups your concentration level, and your focus is on doing that job, and all the other things are not in your head, and it helps Guillen to have a specific job to do at the plate, and he can get it done. That's why Lou put him in the 2-hole.
Snap throw to first base, and they almost get Ichiro. Well, that's that snap throw that you're talking about, that quick delivery. But he has to first base, and if you haven't seen it before, he's liable to catch it.
Very quick, just a snap with a wrist right there. If that throws down a bit, he gets it.
Next pitch, slap fouled on the right field line. How important is it for a second place hitter to be able to hit the ball right field?
Well, you have to, because the whole object of a leadoff man is to get on base and cause destruction around the base pass, and you don't want to be a pull hitter and just roll it over for a double play and erase that strategy. So you've got to be able to take an inside pitch to right field to stay out of the double play and take a few pitches to give him a chance to steal.
The 2-2 pitch. Swung on, hit hard, past the second baseman into right field, and there goes Ichiro to third base. Exactly what you're talking about.
And I think that's Lou Piniella's plan. This is a breaking ball from Reeder, and normally Carlos Guillen would be thinking about pulling this pitch. But with Ichiro on first, knowing he has a job to do, the breaking ball, you stay behind it a little bit longer if you're trying to shoot the right field. Breaking ball right here, Carlos Guillen does exactly what you're supposed to do, hit it the other way, and he stayed behind the ball, so he hit it hard the other way, not just guiding it that way.
So here is Edgar Martinez with runners at first and third and nobody out. Also looking at that breaking ball that going the other way kind of froze the second baseman, Jeff Kent. Looked like he was, first move was toward the bag at second. So here's Edgar. He walked his first time up. And once again, Reeder keeping the ball away, ball 1. Boy, you just assume that with a breaking ball coming up there, the right-hander is going to pull that ball. When he takes it the other way, sometimes can freeze the guys on the right side of the diamond. Way high. And a good play by Benito Santiago.
And you add in the fact that you got to play a little tighter for the double play position, and you're cheating a little bit just in case Ichiro steals, and everything. You add all that up, and it cuts down your range in the middle of the diamond.
Keep in mind, too, that Benito Santiago has a very good throwing arm. Next pitch swung on, hit high into center field. Tagging at third base is Ichiro. Murray makes the catch and immediately throws into second base. Ichiro scores, and the Mariners lead it 2-1. A sacrifice fly for Edgar Martinez. And he picks up his 68th RBI of the year.
Well, I think you've seen this simple baseball out of the Mariners all year. Ichiro gets a hit, they get him over some way, and of course Edgar gets him in or Oru gets him in. It's called simple baseball, but a lot of teams can't perform these simple acts. And Edgar, the first time up, scouted Reeder very well, got a pitch, maybe not in the strike zone, but drove it to center field.
First pitch to Olerud is way outside, ball one. 1 ball and no strikes. Olerud popped up to shortstop. His only time up. He has won his last 4 decisions. His last loss, you'd have to go back to May 26 against the Rockies. For Ichiro, that is his 77th run scored this year. That's tops in the American League. And boy, when you have a leadoff man that leads the league in runs scored. Olerud hits it off the end of the bat into left center field, but Murray is there to take care of it, and going back to first base is Guillen. Well, looking for an easy way to buy Mariners tickets, just log on to SeattleMariners.com. Your official source for seats for all of the big games. Tickets are selling fast for all of the remaining games. So if you want to be part of the Soto Mojo here at beautiful Safeco Field, make your plans now. SeattleMariners.com. Connect with it. Here's Boone standing in. Brett 1 for 1. And he takes outside ball 1. To put things in perspective about Brett Boone and the type of first half that he's had this year, keep in mind he's batting .324, 22 home runs, 84 runs driven in. If you look back in his career, his pre-All-Star numbers, he is a .260 hitter, 9 home runs and 42 runs driven in. Boys, he put together quite a season so far.
Pretty much doubled everything that he's done so far in his career.
Just about.
And you look at that average against lefties, and that's where you're supposed to pick up some of those numbers.
Outside ball 2. Well, not only is he batting .446 against left-handers, but that is the best in the American League against the southpaws. 2 balls and no strikes. Make that 3 balls and no strikes. And there's ball 4. Second walk allowed by Reeder, and down to second base goes Guillen, and the batter is Mike Cameron.
And I think you're going to see a little bit more of that the second half. They're going to test Brett Boone to see if he can lay off ball 3, ball 4, because you're not going to want to throw a guy that many strikes when he's proven the 22 home runs. Even at 3-0, he had the green light right there. You can see that he was still hitterish at the plate. He wasn't just standing there. So they're going to pitch around him a little bit more the second half.
I don't blame him. I would too, with the kind of year that he's having. Dave Righetti, the pitching coach of the Giants, out there to have a brief meeting with Kurt Reeder. And they obviously have concluded that. And now here is Cameron. And before that, Santiago wants to go out and have a word. Santiago likes to throw. So if you're the runner at first base, or the runner at second base for that matter, you have to be aware of that. He will throw behind the runners. Cameron 0 for 1. And a curveball is down low, ball 1. Batting .276 as he stands in. And a strike on the outside corner. That's exactly where Reeder likes to live. When you have a pitcher, Dave, that is consistently throwing everything low and away, low, wouldn't you want to move up in the plate a little?
I think you force him to bring the ball in. You get real close to the plate and you take the outside corner away from him.
Foul along the third baseline, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
When you're talking about moving a little bit closer to the plate, the catcher can see that. So you force the pitcher out of his comfort zone because he's proven that he can hit that outside corner with a sinker or the fastball. So you want him to get out of his comfort zone to pitch you in. And he can't pitch in that effectively. He's got more control in the outside corner.
Fouled, and that got the home plate umpire, Rick Reed. And Reed will take a little bit more time as he puts his hand into the ball bat. I think that got the bare hand.
Well, the thing about it, Reeder throws an inside cutter. Cameron fouls it straight back and gets him right on the forearm or the elbow. As we take a look at this, this is where umpires, they have no protection. It hit them right in the elbow, right there. No protection right there. They got their chest, neck, head, face, shin guards, but they might have to start wearing some of that elbow protection that some of these hitters are doing. You know, it got the bone area, so that's where you get that funny bone, and you don't get the feeling back in your fingers for a while.
Boy, I feel for that guy. Because, boy, that got him right on the bone. That didn't get any meat at all. Take a look at it from this angle right here. Keep an eye on the right arm. Right off the elbow.
Takes a big bite out of that elbow. Ouch.
1 ball and 2 strikes, and a breaking ball is down low. 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Cameron. I just think that when you have a pitcher that pitches away that much, to move up in the plate and force him, like you say, to go out of his comfort zone and defy him to try to jam you.
And the thing about it, when they do need an out, they usually go to their comfort zone, and he goes for the outside corner.
Popped him up behind first base. Crespo, Kent, and it'll be Kent, the second baseman, that makes the play. But the Mariners come up with 1 run on 2 hits. They leave 2, and after 3 complete, Mariners lead it 2-1. Well, through 3 innings of play, the Mariners lead by a score of 2-1, and it's time to take a look at the home run leaders, brought to you by Home Depot. Well, who hit the most home runs before the All-Star break? Well, this year, if you've been following baseball, Barry Bonds with 39 home runs. Mark McGwire in 1998 hit 37. Reggie Jackson in 1969. Hendu, what about the second half of the season?
Well, I think that's what you always look at. We start doubling these numbers, and it's not fair to guys. You look at those numbers right there. McGwire, of course, 70. He had 33. But Reggie got hurt the second half, only 10. King Griffey Jr., 21. Start going for home runs. You don't hit as many. And, of course, we noticed that Hank Aaron, the guy with the most home runs, he's never on there because he was just so consistent.
I know it. Hank Aaron, you know, nothing special. He'd hit 20, 25 home runs the first half of the season. As we take a look at Rich Aurelia, and the first pitch to him is in and over for a strike. But Hank Aaron just hit line drives out of the ballpark. And you never hear about Hank Aaron hitting a long home run. They were just line drive home runs, and that was it.
Well, that graph right there just shows you why it's foolish to just double numbers in the first half and assume they're going to do the same thing in the second half. It very rarely happens.
The 0-1 pitch. And that is hit into shallow center field. Cameron with an easy play, and that's out number 1. 8 in a row now, set down by Paul Abbott. And here he is, Barry Bonds. I don't know why you should even pitch to this guy.
Well, I think if you're cruising as Abbott is cruising right now, you don't really pitch to him. You just make him hit a ball out of the strike zone. I think there's evidence to support that. He's walked 83 times this year. Make it 84.
And that is low, ball 1. Well, he leads the National League in base on balls, on-base percentage, slugging percentage, home runs. And boy, what a hitter this guy is. 2 balls with no strike.
I think you put the pressure on the rest of the guys in the offense. You put Barry down at first base and make sure he doesn't steal a base, but you put the pressure on the right-handed hitters, Kent behind him. We talked about their lineup last year, and they're losing one guy, Ellis Burks, that was very, very tough when you walked Barry or Kent. He drove in over 98 runs last year, and Dusty Baker is still looking for that guy to complement those two guys in the lineup, Kent and Bonds.
Well, you take a good hitter like that out of your lineup, and that's a lot of your offense. And Bonds just waved at that changeup. 2-2. He has retired 8 in a row since Bonds took him deep back in the first inning. Full count now, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Bonds, a 3 times MVP, his 10th All-Star selection. What a career he has had. And the 3-2 pitch. A fastball up and in. That's an area where Bonds has trouble with that pitch, because Bonds wants to lift the ball. You pitch him down low, and
well, I think that's the danger zone too. If you miss by 3 or 4 inches, it's a home run. But you see Abbott got it up and in on him.
Fouled away, another pitch. So the count remains full, 3-2. Bonds looked like he tries to pull everything.
Well, he's just a little closer to the plate, and he has that short stroke that he does hit the ball out of the ballpark to left field, center field, anywhere. He just covers the inside pitch a little better this year.
And again, the 3-2 pitch. Got him with a changeup and a dandy. Strikeout number 3 for Paul Abbott.
Well, even the best hitters, if you let them 2-0, they hit home runs. But when you work the count up and in with that fastball, you set up this pitch right here, that changeup low and away. And it goes back to that old saying, up and in, low and away. Abbott does it perfectly. That changeup sinks low and away. And I don't care who you are, you're not going to hit those 2 pitches, up and in, low and away.
Not if you keep putting them in that area, you're not going to. Here is Jeff Kent. Struck out his first time up. And he looks at a fastball. Struck out on the changeup the first time up, and that fastball is right down the middle. He might still be looking for that changeup. Fouls this pitch away, and the count is 0-2. Well, at this time of year, a lot of teams are talking about making trades, but I have to think that the Cleveland Indians are wondering why they got rid of Jeff Kent back in 1996. Pitch just outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. He was involved in the trade with Matt Williams with the Giants at that time, and Jeff Kent came over to San Francisco. Boy, I bet the Cleveland Indians are saying, why do we do that?
For the numbers he's put up over the years, batting behind Barry Bonds.
Next pitch is hit way foul. And the count remains at 1-2.
As we talk about Bonds, being careful with him in the lineup, the same thing with Kent. Of course, right-hander against right-hander, you can throw more pitches to Kent and get him out, but you still have to be careful. You're in a 2-1 ball game. This guy can take you deep.
They're going to try to go low and away, and they got him with a fastball. A high fastball up and out of the plate, and Jeff Kent strikes out, and 3 up, 3 down. And that is now 9 in a row set down by Abbott. And after 3.5, 2-1 Mariners. Well, the Mariners lead it 2-1 as we go to their half of the 4th inning. And it's time now for our nightly trivia feature brought to you by Aflac. Dave Niehaus is not here, so he can't make the sound of the duck. So we'll have to wait for Dave to come back. But our question is, who holds the Major League record for the most consecutive seasons hitting 30 or more home runs? Well, we'll give you the answer in a little bit as Sprague stands in, and he takes ball 1. I'm Ron Fairley along with Dave Henderson, and once again Dave Niehaus is on vacation, and Dave will take about 3 or 4 days off. He'll be back with the ball club on Monday. Next pitch low and outside, ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. Sprague on via an error back in the 2nd inning, so he is 0 for 1. Get hard on the ground to the second baseman Kent, and on to Crespo, and that is out number 1. So here is David Bell. And Bell with a base hit his last time up. Tried to stretch a single into a double. Got gunned down by the right fielder Rios. And now has a 7-game hitting streak. Mariners lead it 2-1. We're in their half of the 4th inning. The opening game of a 3-game set with the Giants. And a curveball is down low, ball 1. Reeder last year an 11-game winner against 9 defeats in 32 games. The 1-0 pitch is down low, ball 1. One ball, make that 2 balls and no strikes. Looks like as the season moves along, his ERA is getting lower and lower. Down low, ball 3. In fact, when you look at Reeder, July has never been a real good month for Reeder. He has a career mark of 12-14. 3-0 pitch is down the middle of the plate and the 3-1. His best month are June and September, October. Bell swings it, hits it hard in the gap in the left center field. That's going to get down. Backhanded by Bernard, and Bell's going to try for 2. And he's thrown out for the medium. So Bell is 2 for 2, and he's keep going for that double. He's keep getting thrown out.
Well, David Bell, it's usually a poor decision when you get thrown out by that far, and it's all up to you how you run out of the batter's box. David out of the batter's box real far, fast, thinking this ball is going to get into the gap, but
I think
cut off.
I think he was surprised that Bernard got over there so quickly. Here is Dan, and he takes a strike in the outside corner.
But there's no surprise. When you hit first base, all you got to do is look up. The play's right in front of you.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, people always talk about the first base coach telling guys to go. No, it's always the batter's decision to go. He knows his speed, and Johnny Moses over there, they just pick up your hat.
2 balls and 1 strike.
Well, he'll get a little bit of ribbing when he goes back in the dugout by getting he's got a double. He's been thrown out twice at second base.
Dan sends one to right field. An easy play for Rios and an easy inning for Kurt Reeder. We have played 4 innings here at Safeco Field, and the Mariners lead it 2-1. 2-1 Mariners. We go to the top half of the 5th inning, and the answer to our Aflac trivia question: who holds the major league record for the most consecutive seasons hitting 30 or more home runs? Hendu, do you have any idea who that is?
Oh, of course. It's
well, now you do.
Jimmy Fox. Barry Bonds has 10.
Man, I've got $100 in my pocket. Said you didn't have the answer to that.
I knew it all the time.
Yeah,
Mike Smith down there at 9.
Yeah.
But the obvious guys, the Babe Ruth, the Hank Aaron's, they're not on there. They've had that split one year. They're talking about consecutive right now.
Consecutive home runs, double X. And that home run that Barry Bonds hit in the 1st inning has tied the guy that has hit 30 or more home runs in more consecutive years than anybody else. Double X, Jimmy Fox. They're now tied at 534 home runs. And they are 10th. Tied for 10th on the all-time home run list. Now we go to the Giants half of the 5th inning. It'll be Rios, Crespo, and Santiago. Abbott has set down 10 in a row. Line right at Olerud. Ball hit hard by Armando Rios, but right at the first baseman. 1 pitch and 1 away.
Well, you know why I played the outfield. That ball gets there a little too quick for me, and starting to rise. Olerud, Golden Glove at first base, hands it with no problem.
Here is Felipe Crespo, who struck out back in the 2nd inning. Breaking ball a little bit high. 1 ball and no strike. Giants have dropped the last 2 games just before the All-Star break. However, in interleague play, they're very tough. They're 7-2. Big swing and a miss, and that evens up the count. Last year, the Giants won 97 games, but in the postseason, they lost to the New York Mets. 2 balls and 1 strike. Popped him up into left field. Sprague coming in. And we have 2 outs. That is 12 in a row set down by Abbott. And here is Benito Santiago. We were talking about Santiago being a first ball fastball hitter. He is a free swinger. Does not walk very much, but he likes to hit the fastball.
Well, the last time up, they started him off with a couple of sliders because that scouting report has been around for a while.
And they start him off again with a breaking ball.
Once you have a jacket or a reputation like that, it's passed around the league, and you don't get that first pitch fastball anymore.
Doesn't take long for the guys to get a book on you. There's a fastball, but it's inside. 1 ball, make that 2 balls and no strike. I think he'll remember the streak that he put together back in 1996. He hit 4 consecutive home runs over a 2-day span. Very few players can say that. Popped up down the right field line, and that'll reach the crowd. Make that 2 balls and 1 strike.
And that's a type of pitch where Abbott has to be careful. He's hit down 12 in a row, but he's been ahead of the count. You give Santiago a fastball hitter a free swing, 2-0. He's not going to walk him. You got to make a decent pitch location-wise because he can ride the pitch out of here when he's way ahead in the count.
Go back with a slider. And that's hit into center field, a base hit for Benito Santiago. And that is just the 2nd hit of the game for the Giants. And that'll bring up the left fielder Marvin Bernard. That's the first hit by the Giants since the home run by Bonds back in the 1st inning.
As you take a look at this helmet right here, Bernard's, he puts a lot of pine tar and rosin on his hat to get a little stickum there, and has one of the stickiest hats in the game.
Fouled away, 0-1. What does that do?
Well, most guys, you have to have a holding place for your pine tar. Most guys do it about the middle of the bat to have some, because they don't let you go back to the on-deck circle to get some pine tar. You just touch the top of your hat, and that's your holding area for your pine tar.
Well, Jay Buhner has that great big patch on his hip that he uses the pine tar.
Yeah, but that's mostly for the outfield, for him to grab some in the outfield.
High and outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. There's Jay. And he's coming along fine, and hopefully the Mariners are going to get him back playing once again. Recovering from that surgery, heel surgery. To the second baseman Boone, and he'll handle it. Underhands to Olerud, and an easy inning for Abbott. And after 4.5, the Mariners lead it by a score of 2-1.
And welcome back to a sold-out Safeco Field as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. The Mariners lead the San Francisco Giants by a score of 2-1 on a beautiful night out for baseball. Hi again, everybody. Rick Riz along with Dave Valley and Barry Bonds doing his thing. And Paul Abbott. Dave Valley doing his.
Well, it didn't take Barry Bonds long. He came into the game the last 13 games without a home run. Didn't waste any time in his first AB. driving that ball out of the ballpark. But I tell you what, Abby has done such a great job of keeping this San Francisco Giants lineup off balance. Gotten a lot of soft fly balls out to the outfield, but using that great changeup.
That circle change very effective for Abby tonight. Working on that bazooka bubble gum. Ichiro leading off the inning takes outside for ball 2. 2 balls and a strike on Ichiro, who had an infield base hit. And he scored the go-ahead run in the 3rd on a sacrifice fly by Edgar. Blazing speed of Ichiro. Fly ball deep to right field. Down the line into the corner. Caught by Armando Rios. I thought it had a chance to go, but Rios had just enough room, about a half step in front of the wall in the corner to make the catch. 1 out for the Mariners here in the 5th. When he wants to, Val, he can turn on a pitch.
Well, there's no doubt about it. You watch Ichiro take batting practice, and he can hit him up off the Hit It Here Cafe. This ball he just doesn't get into. Gets underneath it just a little bit as Rios just settles underneath it out there on the warning track in right field.
Here's shortstop Carlos Guillen. Tries the bunt, lays it down, third base side. Picked up by Reeder. The throw to first is in time to get Carlos on a nice play by the pitcher Kirk Reeder. 2 outs. Reeder was on that ball in a hurry.
Well, Carlos Guillen, he wants to get that ball a little bit more towards the line, but you saw right as that ball hit the ground, it kicked out towards Kirk Reeder, towards the mound. Carlos, a very good bunter. Just didn't get that bat head on a good enough angle to get it down towards the third baseman. You always want that third baseman to try to come in and field that pitch.
Here's Edgar. Ground ball to the shortstop. Aurelia bobbles the ball and it gets behind him. That is the 2nd error in this game already by all-star shortstop Rich Aurelia. The go-ahead run, or rather the first run, was charged, was an unearned run because of an error by Aurelia.
Well, this ball here is hit very hard by Edgar Martinez, hit right on the button. But Aurelia just not having soft hands here this afternoon, as that ball again hits off the heel of his glove, much like that first one earlier in the ball game.
So 1 aboard with 2 outs, and that'll bring up first baseman John Oliver. Toss to first, and Edgar gets back. Now Aurelia was here for the last few days. He was the starting shortstop for the National League squad, so he's had a chance to get accustomed to the infield here at Safeco Field. With practice and a workout day on Monday, the game on Tuesday. Olerud, fly ball into center field. Calvin Murray is there to make the catch for out number 3, and after 5, the Mariners lead the Giants 2-1.